Welcome, everybody. You have now checked your ears into what we're calling StarCHaser Central. It is a Charles Hamilton music podcast that we are going to go back, listen to old Charles Hamilton music, and talk all things Charles Hamilton. My name is Brandon Stick Braxton.
My name is Mike Jackson, also known as Mike D. Jackson, whichever one you prefer. So,
And yeah, man, we've decided to come together, put our two very limited but very specific set of skills to the test to talk about I would say one of our biggest idols.
sir, I agree. Mr. Charles Hamilton himself. You see, I got the pink on, got to rep the pink, so got to do it for him.
So I guess to start off with this pod, man, I think we should just kind of intro how we decided to do the pod and I guess a little bit about ourselves. So I'll let you go first, man.
All right. So, obviously, with me and you, Stick, we have been avid listeners of Charles Hamilton for years. I can't speak for you, but I know you're one of the OG Star Chasers. I started, I want to say at least 2008. You're going to realize I'm gonna have a lot of stories about like almost everything, but quick story. I made an Emily remix when everyone made an Emily remix. So I was going on YouTube, scrolling to see everyone's remix going down, every single person's. I ran into Charles Hamilton. That's how I first heard of him, and didn't know who he was. It was a thing of I think my remix at the time had maybe like 12,000 views. He had 15,000. So I'm like, I never heard of this guy. So let me check him out. That's
Yeah,
the first time I heard of him, and ever since then I was like, let me keep checking him out. I like what he's doing. So
yeah.
I started.
I guess for me, again, it's just one of those things where like again, I think similar time, 08, 2007, 2008. Um, I this is the era where like you're going through like different websites, different blogs, and you're like, oh, let's see what's on here, what's on here. So you just searching the sites, and then
Yeah.
you just run across one that says Charles Hamilton signed Hamilton. Like that's a it's like, and then you look at it, it's like a whole tape of just this dude rapping. Like, all right, so you click it, and then I don't know what it is. I feel like this era, more than any era, you just start going down a rabbit hole, and you just start
Yep.
let me find out more and more about this guy, and that's just kind of where things started for me. And it just you just dive in.
Yeah, definitely for me the same way because at first I heard him, I'm like, okay, cool. And then I heard a couple things. I think I found his MySpace, and then I would see his blogs on there, not his actual first blog, but his blogs on MySpace. And I'm like, this guy's like a cocky dude. Like what I've never heard of him. He's talking all this stuff about this artist sucks, this artist is garbage. And I'm like I've never seen you ever. Like you're a great artist, but who are you? And then a couple songs just pulled me in. I'm like, I think this guy knows what he's talking about, and he is exactly who he says he is. So
Yeah. No, that's a fact. Um, now, what about yourself? Would you like to let anything? Would you like to tell people about yourself? Anything about yourself?
all right, just me, myself, and I. Once again, my name is Mike D. Jackson. I do a lot of things. Like I said earlier, I make music. Charles is one of the reasons, not why I started making music, but I started sampling and making beats because I had no interest in that at all. Um, so he's definitely influenced me in that aspect. I like to do little skits and whatnot, little funny videos. I like to entertain people, make people laugh, make people think. Sometimes you'll see me on social media saying something funny. Sometimes it's thought provoking.
Mhm.
I recently just came off of a tour, the Triple S tour, the Super Summer Spectacle. That was a great event. So just all around, I'm just someone that likes to just to vibe out and have a good time. So
Yeah, that's a good fact, man. Me, I am a multitude of things. I've done a few of these podcasts. Clueless Vino, obviously, and I've also had the Two Tall Boys podcast that I've done. Also a writer, um, dad. I'm a bunch of different things. I like to keep myself busy with a bunch of projects, and I'm super excited to start this one because there are just so many tapes and so many things we could talk about with this one subject that we could do this for a while.
so many tapes. I won't say too little time, but it's a lot of tapes, a lot of tapes,
Yeah,
a
that's a
lot of
fact.
tapes.
That's a fact. And I feel like for me, is to one, celebrate Charles Hampton because he has given us a lot over the years.
Yes.
Um, no matter how no matter how things turned out, no matter how you may have viewed his career, he has given us a lot and he has influenced a lot of people. Um, but also if you haven't heard of Charles Hampton's music or you've never heard Charles Hampton, I feel like this is a good place. I want this to be a place where you can like, you know what, let me go check this guy out, figure out some of the things you would listen to, kind of give you some disclaimers about some of the things you are going to hear, and then you can choose for yourself. I feel like that's one of the big things with like Charles Hammond's music. It's like people will ask, like, "Well, where do you start? What do I listen to?" And it's a difficult question to kind of answer. So I feel like this is going to be a great place for people to be able to maybe find the answers they're looking for.
Very much so, because believe it or not, I went back and I looked up the Pink Lavalamp, and one of the things I saw was for the reissue in 2018, because that was the 10-year anniversary. Where I think technically now we're at the 15th,
Yeah,
15, 14, 15. So
yeah,
wow,
we're old.
15 years. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But but for 2018, there were so many people talking about, oh, I've never heard the Pink Lavalamp, and me and you were like, what do you mean you never heard the Pink Lava
yeah,
Lamp? That's just like, if you've heard of Charles Hamilton, that kind of like, it's synonymous. That's like saying you heard of Dr. Dre, but you never heard the Chronic. That's how I look
yeah,
at it. Like 50 Cent and Get Rich or Die Trying. That's like one of the first couple things. But at the same time, there were a lot of people that weren't there with us in 2008, 2009, 2010. A lot of
mhm,
people came up 2012, 2015 when he got
yeah,
re-signed. So
yeah,
definitely a treat for us older fans, and for brand new fans, anyone that's never heard of them at all, upcoming fan, just you'll definitely be surprised.
yeah. So and today I feel like we decided, let's just start with the bang. And you kind of alluded to it. We're starting with the Pink Lava Lamp. Um, it's like you said, probably the most iconic, synonymous album when it comes to Charles Hamilton. So just some background notes. This came out in I want to say December 2008.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. What you're gonna find out soon is that Mike is probably the historian when it comes to Charles Hampton. Like he knows a lot of backstory. He knows a lot of like some of the stuff that I forget. Mike will know. So that's definitely why he's my partner in crime when it comes to this.
All right.
So yeah, Charles Hampton, Pink Lava Lamp came out in 2008. I believe it was recorded at Charles's high school academy.
FDA, the
Yeah,
school that he spent most of the time at, where he was homeless, but that was basically his home. So
yeah,
if I remember, he said that when school would let out, he basically just like stayed in there and then like just hid in there. Then while the faculty left, then he just kept doing what he was doing, making music, invite his boys over, invite girls over, and just that was his life at the time. So I believe that was like, even though the Pink Lavaland came out in 2008, most of this music was recorded in 2005,
yeah.
2006. So
Mhm. Um, but yeah, it's one of those things where like the release kind of coincided with like the blog era as we were talking about earlier. Um, and what a perfect time for that because when this released, it kind of opened people's eyes, especially some labels, um, to the the genius that is Charles Hampton. He had like a blend of like a bunch of different um guys that were superstars, but he had like a blend of a bunch of so like you would get the comparisons to Kanye, you would get the comparisons to Lupe Fiasco, you would get those comparisons, and he seemed to be in a mix of all of them. And I feel like no project kind of shows that the most other than this Pink Lava Land. So what was your initial thoughts on the Pink Lava Land when you first heard, if you can remember?
yeah. So first time I ever heard it. I want to say almost like with a lot of us have thought. Not trying to be biased, because the first ever listen, I was like, this is a classic. And I
Yeah,
played it over and over and over. Had it on CD. Like you said, that's how we tell we're getting old. But
yeah,
had it burnt to a CD. Just kept listening to it, and I didn't want to like listen to anything else. And it's very rare for me to feel that way, especially during the blog era. It was, if anything, I would listen to something once or twice. Oh, that was cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't listen to it again, but with this album, this project, I just kept listening to it over and over. In love with it. I'm like, yeah, this is my guy. Like
Yeah.
for a while, I didn't have a favorite rapper, and I'm like, man, I don't know who I want my favorite to be, but this is what solidified it for me. I'm like, this guy, I'm rocking with him. Win, lose, draw. This is the guy for me, for real. So
Yeah, no, I agree. I think because as we get on more with this podcast, we'll start talking about the Hamiltonization process and that whole situation.
right,
So I came in weird, so like I didn't get the fully in. I didn't go to the week by week situation that everyone else probably went through. So I kind of jumbled up. So my first two again was Sonic Hamilton and Pink Lavalamp, just based off of how things kind of fell into my lap or whatever.
okay, yeah,
But I know during that summer, as I would do, I stayed on campus to train for basketball or whatever. So I would go back and forth home or whatever. So it's like, all right, I need something to play. So we used to have, first off, there were no USB ports like that to plug in your iPod or nothing like that. You had to get those little those transmitters, the FM transmitters.
yeah. Oh
Plug
God,
into your yeah, bro. That you plug into your iPod, turn to the channel on the radio, and that's how you listen to your iPod in the car. So I would have that, and the two jumps I played was Sonic the Hamilton and the Pink Lavalamp, just up and down the road. Like it was like a 2-hour drive, but I would just blast them jumps, bro. And when I heard the Pink Lavalamp, I was like, bro, this is nuts, because it was different sounding to me, based because when you're in high school, you think like popular stuff. You listen to Wayne, you listen to Rick Ross, all these different rappers that they come on the radio, but
yeah,
this sounded nothing like it. But you also in your mind was like, this could be on the radio. You know what I mean? And that was what was cool. It was like, yo, it was like I found something that no one else knew. That's what it felt like when you found it. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. That makes a lot of sense because, like you said, you had Wayne, you had Ross, T-Pain on every song,
Yep.
Akon on almost every song, DJ
Yep.
Khaled on every song.
Yep.
And don't get me wrong, not only that, there's a lot of Southern artists, Southern dances. Every song had a dance back then.
Oh
We
my
we talk
God. Yeah.
everyone talks about, oh my God, these TikTokers and all these dances. We were technically the original, not TikTokers, but all the dances, Soldier Boy, like every song had a dance back then. And like
Yep.
the snap music and hip hop was dead. So when Charles and a couple other people along with him, they came out and it was that fresh sound. It was something new.
Mm-hmm.
It was just people expressing themselves, kind of like you said with Kanye and Lupe. They expressed themselves and talked about what they thought, what they
Mm-hmm.
believed in. And you really didn't get that. You just heard, snap your fingers and do this dance and do
Yep.
that. So it was definitely something very new and exciting. It was an exciting time to be around music, especially younger artists around our age, because we're all around the same age too. So
Yeah. And I think just during the time that we found him, I feel like that's like the most important time as far as developing your musical taste. Because like you're in college, now you no longer have to be like clicky per se, and you're
right.
like, I like what I like, and that's what it is. And that I feel like that was a big step for us, for me at least. This is my guy. I'm rolling with him. I understand y'all like all these other guys, and that's cool. I like some of their stuff too, but this is my guy.
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree. Because after Charles came out, I liked Asher and maybe a few other people on the list, and
Yeah.
after that, I really wasn't rocking with that many other people. It was just like once again, I'd hear someone's song. Oh, it's a cool song. I like this.
Yeah.
That's it, and just wouldn't really return back to like whoever it was. I'm like, what's Charles coming out with? What's
Yeah.
Asher coming out with? What's the new this? What's the new that? Other than that, I'm like, everyone else, I'm good on. So.
Yeah. That's a fact. Let's get into some of the songs. I mean, just opening up with music. I feel like it's like the perfect way for him to open. First of all, the album and just the song itself. The first lyrics you hear from Charles Hampton is,
America got a thing for this gangster shit. Well, I ain't got it, so if different shit is whack to you, don't cop it.
so honest from the jump.
And also, shout out to the 50 Cent reference because 50 said that in his song for the "Get Rich or Die Trying" soundtrack for the movie.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of a similar thing where everyone was loving the gangster stuff, everyone's loving the certain swag and style, and Charles has never been that type of person. He's letting you know from the jump, this is what you're into. I don't have that. Skip
Right.
to the next person. That's not what this is, what I'm here for. Like, if you want to hear real artistry, real music, compelling stories,
Mm-hmm.
I'm the one that's going to tell you that. Other than that, you might want to go to somebody else. So
Yeah. The thing again, the thing we like about him most is that he's very honest, and when it comes to intros, there have been a lot of great intro songs on a lot of these tapes, but I feel like this one is the most him because in the song again, he's saying like music is the thing I love. I bleed music. This is what I do. Like if I don't have this, then I'm not really me, right? And I feel like
right.
that kind of sets the tone for the entire album.
It does. I agree because I think, like you said, the most perfect intro, I think, out of all of his, and I know I'm going to be skipping some, but I'm going to say it's top one out of all of his projects and whatnot. The most memorable, like I said, music is the only love, and a lot of people say that, oh, without music, I can't live or I can't.
Yeah.
Most people don't understand that literally that's all he was doing. Like, he would wake up, make beats, make music, and that's it. The rest of us, oh, I'm gonna go outside, hang with some friends, I'm gonna go play some sports, play some video games.
Yeah.
But no, he literally just made music and that's it. Like, if you don't see him making music, there's probably a problem. There might be actual problem going on. So, like, legit, I believed him when he actually said it. There's something different about it, how he convinced me. So
Yeah, that's a fact. Um, as you're looking at this track list, what song kind of jumps out at you um when it comes to the album? It's a 70-minute album. I
yeah,
know nowadays that's kind of like whoa, you know what I'm saying? Because like the shortest song on here is "Live
live
Life
life
to
to the
the
fullest.
Fullest," 3 minutes
Yeah,
and 38 seconds, and that's still kind of a lengthy song in today's era.
yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I don't mind the length of the album. It's one of those things where I'm like, okay, cool. Because everything hits, and he likes to like the beats at the end to kind of let people do whatever they're gonna do. So yeah,
Exactly.
tell me what jumps off at you.
If I'm just looking at like just names wise, I would say one of the biggest ones probably Satellite, because with Satellite there's well, not apostrophe, but one of the T's
Mhm.
are in parentheses. So I'm just like, well, what's that about? But there were some people just if they want to just stylize their titles a little bit differently, just make it pop out a little bit more.
Yeah,
Live life to the fullest. That's just something that kind of pops out to me a little bit, just because everyone wants to do that. Brighter days, just like the more of the the positive sounding names. They popped out at me, and then also I would probably say the last one, the outro, Rain in the Sky. Like
yeah,
that one. So just by names, it's just a thing where I'm just like, oh, these ones sound like the most interesting. Now, what ended up popping out to me listening wise ended up
mm,
being different, but I will say this, just 70 minutes. It is long by today's standards, but I think it's perfect because I listened to it earlier today, and I was just going around just doing random stuff, and I'm
yeah,
just like, this album is 70 minutes, but it didn't feel like I did 70 minutes worth of stuff in a good way.
yeah,
Like, oh, I'm already at the end. I'm like, man, just what was I doing? I was
yeah,
like, so it goes by, and it goes by well. It's not a thing where you're dragging on. Like, I feel like all the songs sequence into each other. There's not really like anything personally for me that I would skip. Some other people would say differently, but I think if you really like Charles Hamilton, you're a real big fan of him, you wouldn't really skip anything. You would listen front to back. You wouldn't put it on
yeah.
you wouldn't put it in like, oh, I'm gonna just go from this song to this song. No, you're going front to back. That's it. There's no really other way to listen to it. So
Yeah, I feel like this album is one of the ones where you kind of have to go front to back. It's not one that you can because we will run into somewhere it's like, okay, I could probably do without this one. I
right.
could probably, I probably can. All right, let me pick through this song, this song, this song, and then I'm cool. I'll go to the next Charles Hamilton album. But like I feel like this one, it's kind of very storybookish. Um, I'm thinking. Let me ask you this: if you had to pick a song from this album in 2008, no, yeah, we'll do that. In 2008, if this song came out in stores or this album came out in stores, which of these songs would you have picked as the lead single? And then I'll ask you the same question, but if it was recreated in 2023.
All right. If I had to pick in 2008, because I'm trying to not let my bias show. Because in
So
2008, I know what my answer would have been in 2008, but that was me more being biased. If I'm being honest, like actual, like go with the single, not the song I like the most. Go with the
yeah,
single. Um, I would probably say "She's So High."
Make the transition, step out of life and make the transition. She's so high, she reached the sky. Look into her eyes, she's so high.
mm-hmm.
I feel like with that song, of course, people are gonna be like, "Oh, isn't he a rapper?" You know, it's more of a,
Mm-hmm.
you know, not R&B, but more of a pop sounding song. But you know, Charles can show he's shown his variety through this project and other ones where he can do it all. He can rap, you know, he's not really a singer, but he can carry a tune well enough
Yep,
to, you know, for it to go along with it. I think overall that would be the most popular song that would garner the most amount of people, whether you like rap, you don't like rap.
yeah,
And you know, a lot of times that's how it works out for the best, where don't pick the most this sounding song or that sounding song. You pick the one that's going to garner the most attention, that's going to, you know, bring everyone closer together, and then
mm-hmm.
they can listen to they can listen to this rap song, they can listen to this alternative song, you know. But
Exactly.
2008, She's So High, I would go with that one.
Okay, so I'll do my 2008 one, and then we can go to 2023. So I think
Okay.
2008 Loser should have been the one.
I once was the loser, now I'm older, still the same loser. That's why I look so different too. Yeah, you see the past, I see the future.
Because I feel like that was just it was as much as I know he doesn't like build around like singles or build around labels and specific stuff. That one is the one that's already pre-made that sounds like boom, verse hook, verse hook, boom. We got it. You know what I'm saying? That sound was ready to be like, all right, let's just put this out here and we can push that for however we want. I love the song. It's a great message to me. Never change who I am. This is who I am. Take me or leave me. That's the message I always got from that. And the beat's hard, of course, but we all know that, obviously.
Yep.
But if we're talking 2023,
All right.
I'm taking your answer from the first one, and I'm thinking She's So High is the perfect time to. This would be the perfect song to drop in 2023. Because I think about even back then, I would say She's So High is a perfect single. But I'm thinking
Yeah.
today and how people really don't want to like people's singles they're very poppy-ish. Like some of the biggest records are very poppy-ish. And I'm not saying that She's So High is a pop record, but I'll say this. If for example, if Little Uzi Vert remade this song in the way that they did like the remember that what's that song he has? I think it's called 24 Hours, and they did the slow verb on it.
Yeah, yeah.
If he did the same thing with this, oh, they would throw it. You know what I'm saying? It's the
Out of
exact
there.
type of vibes. And
Out of there.
he was able to drop that today. Oh, bro, that'd be crazy. Right up the charts.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that's the craziest thing where it's a Charles song, but if someone else did it like a Uzi or someone else that's more popular, it'd be like, oh man, billion streams, you know,
Yep.
this and this might get a, you know, these many awards, and it's just
Yep.
like, wow, but that shows you how great of an artist Charles is, because even if you felt like, oh, someone else could have did the song better, it doesn't matter. It's the lyrics, it's the emotion, it's what he put
Exactly.
into it.
Yep.
Sometimes even if someone else did the song, it might not come out that well. Like they might have sung the song on key or whatever, but guess what? it's the emotion. Like sometimes you have to live through something, and it
Yeah.
has to like resonate through you and with everyone else. Like I could have heard someone else do it, and I'm like, it's a good song, but there's something missing, and
They
it's
would have
that
lost something. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So for me, and I hate to sound like this because it's going to sound like I'm just taking what you're saying, but honestly, in 2023, I would have probably said Loser, and this is
Yeah.
why I would have said Loser would be the song to go with because when I first heard Loser, I liked it. It was a good song. I'm like, oh, this is a good song. Like you said, great message.
Yeah.
Throughout the years, the 10 and 15 years of this anniversary of this project, um, you can't. Everyone talks about Brooklyn Girls being, oh, that's Charles's. I know. I think that's Loser. I think if you had to pick one song out of his whole catalog that explain who he was, Loser would be it. And that's one of them songs where he can't not perform it. When in 2015, when I went to SOBs, when he was signed again, he performed 6 songs. Of course, he performed Brooklyn Girls, but Loser was the one where I'm like, I get it. Because before, it's not that I didn't get it before, but
Yeah.
now I'm just like, because Charles, as hard headed and stubborn as he is, like he says, he's never going to change. He's always going to be himself, and that's technically what got him to where he is. Good, bad, and different. Just he's still going to stay the same, and that's why I appreciate him so much. Because I'm like, you know what? Because I'm the same way too. I'm hard headed in my own aspect, and I'm like, look, if I changed, then who would I be? I wouldn't be myself. If
Right.
Charles would have changed his sound, he would have changed for the masses. He wouldn't have been Charles Hampton. He would have been somebody else. And we wouldn't have maybe gotten these type of projects or even this album itself if he
Yeah.
changed. So
That's true.
uh so yeah, 2023, I would have said Loser. That should have been the song to go with. So
Okay. So I guess we will talk about what would you say is and now we're not saying it's a bad song necessarily. What would you say is probably the weakest song on the album if you had to pick one?
easy. So and not because it's the shortest song, but Live Life to the Fullest.
Okay.
Now, me personally, I don't think there's any skips on this project.
Okay.
There's only, I think, if anything, if I was not to necessarily take it off, but like I could do without it sometimes. Like when I listen to the project, there's sometimes I'm like, I don't want to listen to it, but most of the times I listen to every song. But that song, and no disrespect to Young Nate because he's featured on the song. Shout out to Young
Yeah.
Nate. Um, but it's just I love the sample. It's Heartbreak Hotel by the Jacksons.
Mhm.
Sample was great. Charles and Nate rapping on it was great.
Mhm.
But for me, not that it doesn't fit on there. I'm just like, it's just with me. It just didn't resonate with me that much. I'm just like, it's a good song. Like that's the only thing I say. It's a good song. Every other song I listen to, I could tell you, oh man, it makes me feel like this, it makes me feel like that, and I love it because of this, the lyrics, live life to the fullest. I'm more just like, it's a good song. One thing I will say, um, personal pet peeve. So on the chorus, they say, live life to the fullest, because tomorrow you could bite the bullet, you never know. Nate makes a mistake and he says, tomorrow you can fight the bullet, you never know. And it's just like I know you messed up, and they probably just didn't want to re-record it. But
So I always thought he said we could fight for bullets, and that was their contrast because Nate is more of the street dude versus Charles is the what I'm saying. I always thought that was like a purposeful thing.
okay, maybe it is, but still, I personally, I'm like, no, he should have just said it the same way.
Yeah,
Either they
I got
both say it the same way or don't, because it's just
you. Yeah,
But you have a good point on that. But like I said, just overall, I don't hate the song. I don't hate any song. I feel like that one's just for me. It's a good song. That's
yeah.
just how I feel about it. So
Okay. Um. Okay. I like that song. It's a pretty good song. It's kind of like a pick me up right after Satellite, which is a really really good record. But for me, it's actually the one before Satellite, and that's the Cookout.
oh
Uh,
my god,
yeah, yeah,
man.
yeah. Over the years, I'm like, you know what? I like 'cause before I'd be like, ooh, this is because like it's like smack dab in the middle. Like literally, it's like smack dab in the middle, and I always notice it. I'm like, ooh, what a weird transition from like Brighter Days to the
Yeah,
Cookout to Satellite. That transition always become like, ooh, Brighter Days, really good record. Like, ooh, the Cookout, this is cool. It's different. it's different. And then you go to Satellite, like, all right, we back. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's not a bad record. It's not a bad record. And even as time has gone on, I've gained more appreciation for the record.
Right.
Uh, but if they were like, you have to remove one, gun to your head or whatever, that would probably be the one for me personally. But again, you can't move it from the album because it does flow in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, no, trust me, I get it. I get it. My whole thing is this. Now I don't know if you were in the I can't remember if this is the StarCHaser group or the bunker, but there was a like a March Madness bracket for the Pink Lavalamp. Do you remember seeing this on either Twitter or
For the album itself?
yeah, for the album itself, where basically it
Oh,
was like okay. So fun fact for any of you that weren't there, there was basically like a March Madness bracket that someone put together of every song from the Pink Lava Lamp, and basically people were like, okay, what would be, the number one song? And I'll be honest, I can't remember how it ended, but the Cookout definitely got knocked out first, and I was one of the people saying, no, what are y'all talking about? And I was so upset because I was like, are you serious? Like, why would this? Because it's not just you. There's a good amount of people that say, that's one of the weaker songs on the
yeah,
project. And I'm like the top defender of it. And not only that, you won't be able to find this anymore because Charles is like the king of deleting like old tweets.
yeah,
So he had a on Twitter, he had a ask me anything situation going on. And I
yeah,
had to ask him because I remember in the actual group where they did the little bracket for the Pink Lava Lamp,
yeah,
he actually said in there, because Charles was in the group, he said, I hate that song. He's like, I hate the Cookout. And I'm like, what? Charles himself said he hated the Cookout. And I was like, are you serious? And he never answered my question until later on when we did the Ask Me Anything. So I
yeah.
said, so you can find my replies, you won't be able to find his. But I said, do you really hate the Cookout?
Uh,
I was like, because I really love that song. He says it's not necessarily that he hates the song, it's because of what he was dealing with. So when he recorded the song, um, he was on like heavy drugs. And so part of me is just like, I could see that. Because if I feel like if you listen to the song, you don't get heroin or heavy drugs vibes. I feel like you just get it's a summertime, outside
yeah,
having a good day type of vibes. That's what I get from it. But I completely understand why people say the Cookout and what you say in the Cookout, because you're not the only one. I've seen that multiple times.
yeah.
Multiple
Um, I mean, since we're on the kind of the topic, one of these songs could have been the end of Charles Hampton from the jump anyway.
times.
Talking about Shining.
Yeah. Yes.
For those who don't know, and you probably have more of the backstory, and again, more of the full details about it, but I just want to give a general thing. Shining is the 13th track on the record on the album, and admittedly from Charles himself, it was designed to be his suicide letter. He was gonna make the song, he was gonna let people, leave it there, and then he was just gonna go unalive himself. Also, if you are dealing with mental struggles, be sure to get help. Um, Never feel like you're alone. You can always ask for help, and there's always somebody that's looking out for you and wants you around.
Definitely.
But I find myself simultaneously loving that record and also feeling bad for liking the record because of what it was supposed to be. How have you felt about it over the years?
So first time hearing the song, enjoyed the song. I'm like, oh, really good song. I like the song.
Yeah.
Before I knew that's what the song was about, and how he explained it on his original blog, that he was just gonna let it play there, and then basically, I guess whoever was gonna find him was just gonna find him
Mhm.
in the room unalived, and then you're just gonna hear that's very haunting, I'll
Yeah.
say. But for me, I don't feel necessarily bad for liking the song.
Mhm.
There was an interview, I think, after like I said, the 10-year anniversary, when he released everything again, where he kind of talked about it, where it's like he basically was like, you know what, that's how he felt then. Now he has a little bit more of appreciation for it because like things didn't turn out the way that he originally planned it to be. You know, he's still alive and kicking today, still making music. So
Yep.
it's just one of those things where it's a time capsule. Yeah, he might have felt that way at the time. And sometimes we can't really dwell on that because that's where he was then. And like I said, that was like 2006. We're in 2023 now. So I feel like it's okay to like the song. Now, if you don't want to like it or if you have your reservations about it, I feel like that's perfectly fine too.
Yeah.
But when I heard the song, like, because it's funny because when you listen to the song, he doesn't have any message really in that song saying, "Hey, I want to da da da, I want
Yeah.
to blah blah blah." It's just he says that he's still shining. Can't you see I'm a diamond? You
Yeah.
know, he talks about, with everything he's been through, it's like, hey, everything I've been through, it made me who I am, and I'm
Mm.
still here, and I'm still standing. It's like one of those type of songs. So you're like, oh yeah, you know what? Me
Yeah.
too. You wouldn't get that type of sentiment from that. If he never explained that, I don't think any of us would have known that, to be
Yeah.
honest. But I still like the song, regardless. I've never shied away from it. It's definitely a song I still play. If
Mm.
anything, I look at it more as a reminder because as an artist myself, I've had songs where they've been like that, and I've actually, had a song where I wrote that's like, oh, I'm going to blah blah blah, and I end up doing it in the song, but I'm still here. Did I
Yeah.
really feel like that? Did I really feel like that? No, but I've flirted with the idea of like, hey, what if I wasn't here? But
Mm.
I've never actually had the feeling of, let me put this into plan and motion and action.
Right.
But like you said, with people that have those thoughts and ideas, it's okay to get help. It's okay to talk to people about your feelings. And as we know, Charles, that's a lot of times how he talks to us through the
Mm.
music. He might
Yep.
not be able to tell you. He might not be able to just sit down how we're sitting down right now and talking about it. He's going to
Mm.
write a song about it, and he wants you to listen to it. And then that's how we talk about it. So
Yeah.
for me, I still love the song. Still love it, no matter what. Still love it.
Absolutely, man. Now let's kind of get wind down, I guess, a little, and let's talk about. Actually, no, I have one more question. So again, we talk about how this probably should have been out in stores. I should have been able to go to a store, grab it, buy like 20 of these, and then just distribute them all around campus. Um,
Yeah.
but there was a snag, and one of the snags was Charles did have a track called "Brooklyn Girls."
Yep.
I believe the story is accurate. Let me know if I'm wrong. Um, Brooklyn Girls was hot. I remember being on. I remember just sitting in my room, and on 106 in Park, the song came on. I was like, wait, whoa. I was like, oh, he's about to be out of here. Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like the biggest show at the time for like music wise. Um, and Interscope wanted to put Brooklyn Girls on the Pink Lava. And Charles, being the artist and the creative genius that he was very firm in being like, no, it doesn't belong on there. It's not supposed to be on there whatsoever. Um, I'll ask you, one, do you think it should have been on there? And or two, couldn't he have just did what he basically did with Writing the Sky and call it a bonus track? Or would that have thrown off the sequence into you?
All right. So I was expecting us to talk about this question. Um, can we do a 2008 answer and a 2023 answer?
I'm with that. That's fine.
Okay, so I'm gonna just do them front to back. 2008 answer, then
Yep.
2023 answer. So in 2008, that was the story. He wrote that on his blog saying, "Hey, they wanted that on there so we could put it in the stores, but I didn't feel like it would fit on there." And then they said about it being a bonus track, and he just still was like, "No." Now, part of me in 2008, I was like, I get that, but overall, I think I back then I was like, no, I think he should have just, put it out there like that and
Yeah.
just called it a wash because people would have understood like, hey, Brooklyn Girls, because I don't think at that time Brooklyn Girls could have went on anything else. It couldn't have gone on let's say the next album that would have came out that unfortunately got shelved, but
Right.
they needed to put it out right then and there. So I think overall in 2008, I was like, you know what, he should have just, just went with it, and everyone would have understood. Like, hey, just put it as a bonus track at the end, just for that. But that's the only way I could see it, at the end. You can't put it in the beginning.
Nope.
Definitely can't go anywhere in the middle. It had
Nope.
to go right at the end. And
Yep.
if people wanted to listen to it, they listened to it. So 2008. I was more leaning towards, yeah, should have put it on the album. 2023, I'm glad he didn't.
Mm.
I'm glad he didn't because, like we talked about before, in 2018 he was actually able to put the album out. Unfortunately, not in stores, but
Mm.
he was able to put them out. And you could buy it online. You could buy a CD. You could
Yep.
buy a vinyl. Actually, I think I still have mine. Let me check. I think I still have it. Yes, sir. I actually have two of the yes, sir.
Yeah.
I actually have two of them.
Yeah. I bought like 4 of them jumps, bro.
The crazy thing is, I only bought one, and somehow I ended up getting two. Like they
Nice.
sent me two, but I'm like, you know what? That's fine because originally I was going to use this one to be like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna listen to it how I used to. Put it in my CD player, even though I don't use them anymore. Put it in
Right.
the CD player, and then the other one's going to stay unwrapped. Both of these are still unwrapped. I still haven't unwrapped either of them,
Yeah.
but I'm glad that he stuck to his vision
Mm.
because, like I said, the song doesn't fit on the album, and that's what he really wanted. Like, if you are a true artist, nothing can really like derail you from your actual vision. Like, if you see a certain project or a certain piece a certain way, you have to stick to that vision because otherwise you're going to compromise what you thought was something great, and then
Mm.
you might not. It might ruin it for you completely. So I'm glad that he didn't do it, and I'm glad that the Pink Lavalamp stayed as is. Nothing was added to it, and like I said, just I don't think Brooklyn Girls could have went on anything else, like literally anything else. It just should have been a single. One last thing I will say, I don't think adding Brooklyn Girls, even if he did do it, adding Brooklyn Girls, I don't think it would have changed his career. I don't think he would have been any bigger or any smaller than he would have been. Like, yeah, he could have had an album that came out sooner,
Mm.
but I think, like I said, how Charles is, he's very determined in how he wants things done.
Mm.
So if regardless if you would have called this a snag in the road or not, there would have been a snag somewhere else because then they would have said, you know what? Since we added Brooklyn Girls to this, let's add this other song to this other project. And then
Yeah.
eventually you have to tell people no, like, no, this is not how I wanted it. I don't want this artist on this song of mine. I don't want this on that. Like, no. So I'm glad that he went with it. So 2008, yes. 2023, no. And I'm proud of him. So
Yeah. So I think I'm kind of similar to you in the sense that in '08, as you're listening to it, you're like, well, people do the bonus track thing all the time because you'll go and I used to pick up albums like, oh, this is a bonus track. Like, oh, okay. So it doesn't fit within the album. It's just here's an extra song. I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I'm like, oh, you could have did that.
right.
But again, like we're saying, like it has to be at the tail end. It can't come before Writing in the Sky. It has to come after it. It cannot go anywhere else. You know what I'm saying? It has to go at the back. So would I have as someone who has write books and is very artistic and very specific about how he does things, I understand it. It's like I'm not gonna add this just because everyone, it's popular and it's what the masses would like to listen to. So I get that portion of it. Now in 2023, I am like you, I'm still happy that it didn't it wasn't on the album. However, I think if I'm thinking of it through today's lens, streaming wise, Brooklyn Girls probably would have went crazy.
Yeah.
And then if that had been on there, I feel like that would like have helped numbers per se. You know how people play the streaming games like, oh, I dropped this big single. And then, oh, magically the single is on my album. Oh, magically my album is gold at day one. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that business perspective, I could see it a little different. Like, oh yeah, I would do this for that reason and that reason only. But artistically, it's always a no for me because what we have is perfect.
Yeah. A good point you made because let's say for example what the label could have done. Let's say this is the regular version of the Pink Lava Lamp.
Mm-hmm.
Say as is.
Mm-hmm.
Then what they could have done, the exclusive version of the Pink Lava Lamp, same album, but
Yep.
just Brooklyn Girls on it. And it's crazy because I think it was Don Toliver. He his last album that just came out. When I first listened to it, I was listening to the exclusive version, and then one day I looked it up, and I didn't know I was listening to the exclusive version. I clicked on the regular version. I'm
Yeah.
like, weren't there like 5 or 6 other songs on here? Where did
Yeah.
they go? And then they're like, oh, no, it's the exclusive version. I'm like, how is it an exclusive version? Because nowadays when you come out with an album, it's coming out on streaming. They come out the
Yeah.
same day.
Yep.
Before it was, hey, this album's coming out in stores. It's coming out this time, and then maybe 2 months later, that's when we, put the exclusive version out with the extra bonus,
Yeah.
unreleased cuts. Both versions came out the same day,
Yeah.
same exact day. I'm like, then what's the point of the original one? What's the point of the original one if you're coming out with just less songs? Like, unless someone's crazy, like, you know what? I don't like any of those extra songs. Just give me the regular version. That just doesn't make sense to me. But it's streaming wise, that does make a lot of sense. I would understand that if they did that. That is a good point. If they did that in 2023, I'd accept that. I'd be like, you know what? That's fine. I just won't listen to that version. So
Yeah. It would be that simple. It's like, I get what you're doing for money, but like artistically, let's just go and shade that off.
yeah.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out how we want to rate things here. Because I want to be able to rate stuff properly for our show. Let me ask you this question while I kind of formulate this in my head. But now we had talked about our original thoughts back in 2008. What are your thoughts here in 2023? Listening to the Pink Lava.
So like I said, I listened to it earlier today. Pretty much how the album starts off out the gate on fire, and then for the most part still keeps it going. Like I said, for me personally, there's only one song where I'm like, it's just a good song. Like I said, there's no bad songs on there, but like just a good song. And then everything else I rate as really really great or good or even perfect. Overall, me listening to it, still enjoy listening to it. I'll always go back to it, and I won't even say it as a biased thing. I feel like anyone that really likes music, if you really like even like I said rap, you want to hear something like that's really from the heart and truthful, you will enjoy this project. You will enjoy the album. If I had to rate it, I know you said like we're not sure if we're doing. I'd say this. I'm cool with if we do go by like something out of 10, but if we or actually, yeah, I'd rather us do like something like that if you're cool with it. But
So the way I wanted to do it was kind of do it like kind of similar to that, but it's like specific phrases. So like if it's something like we're absolutely sharing it, like this is the top notch, one of the best things. I was gonna be like, every StarCHaser needs to hear this. If it's one where it's like, maybe you can skip this one, it's like, I'll let another StarCHaser find this. So I have to figure out what that is. But for today, let's do
okay,
out of 10, and I'll figure it out.
okay,
For the episode.
okay. Your idea is kind of like the source. You know how the like 5 mics and all that, and like the 5 meant this, like absolute classic. 4 is like, oh, you're really excellent, whatever. Okay, I got you. I will say every single
Yep.
StarCHaser needs to hear this.
Yep.
There's no excuses. There are no excuses. You need to listen to it. If you haven't, you need to listen to it now.
Yeah.
I want to give it. It's not perfect, like I said. It's not the perfect, but it's damn near close to it. I would give it a 9, definitely a 9. I'm gonna give it a 9. So
Yeah. If we don't do like halves and stuff like that, I'm probably in the same situation. And we could change it at any point just to we can have like a leaderboard, chart board. We'll figure what we're gonna do. But yeah, I
okay,
would say 9 out of 10 too, just because again, when he did the re-release, I was like, this is a no-brainer. I'm getting this. Like this is like in my top 5 albums ever for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's perfect. It's masterful rapping. It's very good. Again, I'll say it again. I think Charles is one of the best like love record rappers. You know what I'm saying? He's like really good with that, and that'll be an episode we'll do one day, just going through some of those. But this is like masterful rapping, great records, great sonically sounds amazing and could work today easily. His sampling is out of control as always, and I Writing in the Skies again, a perfect way to end the record and a perfect way to win the album because it's like my goal is to have my name in the stars. I am the StarCHaser. I'm gonna have my name up there. You got to see your name in the sky, and so
Yes, sir.
it's just a beautiful album from front to back, like we said. And again, everyone, if you don't listen to any other Charles Hamilton album or project or tape or song, I feel like this is the one you kind of have to just to kind of at least get the intro to it. And I think that's why we kind of wanted to start off with this one. That way, if for some reason y'all fall off and don't listen to another episode of this, we will trick you into listening to the Pink Lavalamp because you really need to listen to the Pink Lavalamp. It's really that simple.
It's a must. It's no said. You just have to. Like it's just you'll be doing yourself a disservice by not listening to it. Like Charles has a lot of other great and amazing projects, but this is one of the ones that if you are a StarCHaser, like I said, you just gotta listen to it. I can't stress it enough, and I don't know what else to say. It's just you gotta listen to it. You just have to listen to it.
Yeah. Also, we're very silly. We did not explain what a StarCHaser was. StarCHaser is the Charles Hamilton group, by the way. We should have did this way earlier. We're terrible. But StarCHasers, that's what Charles has granted the name of his fan base. We are StarCHasers, and that's why we are StarCHaser Central. Man, we are the place to find everything Charles Hamilton. So I wanted to sign off. So let's go ahead and give people your socials so they can find us. And are we going to do an account for this? I feel like, all right, before we even get through this, I feel like all social stuff is going to be here. I'm not doing none of that. You're better at that than me. We'll collaborate.
I'll say this. We could do one, but it's one of those things where like because my thing is this. I think if we make one, we'll see how it goes. I definitely think we should make one, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, and until then, like I said, they can still reach us at our socials. So for me and I'm not calling it X. I will never call it X. On my actual phone, it still says Twitter, and I'm gonna knock on wood because I might just jinx myself because now watch my shit say something else now. But on my Twitter, my name is Mike D Jackson, Mike DEE Jackson. On Instagram, it's the Mike Jackson, THE Mike Jackson. That's where you can find me at. Hit me up. You want to talk about Charles, anything, StarCHaser related content, let us know. Anything else, it's all cool. It's all good.
You can find me on Instagram at StickerAround54. That's STIK around 54. And on Twitter, X, or whatever it's called, I'm at Dante Diable. That's Dante DANTE _ DIABLE 54. Be sure to share this podcast with any StarCHaser you know. Be sure to share with any music lovers you know. We're gonna be doing this a lot often. We're gonna be trying to. I don't know what our schedule's gonna be as far as like releasing stuff, but we'll figure that out. But more importantly, let us know what you want us to cover, what albums you want us to cover, what songs, what Charles Hamilton topics. We want to talk about everything Charles Hamilton, basically. And I feel like we'll have some guests. We have the OG StarCHaser group that we can bring somebody in every now and again to chat with us, to have a little banter about. I know some of them got some of their favorites.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, man. I don't know what the sign off is going to be. What would Charles Hamilton say?
He would say a lot of things.
He would say a lot of things.
He would say a lot of things. I know what was it? Some of his tags he's had, originally he had the beep, on his actual he had the beep. Then it was back outside. Here's Hamilton launching.
Yeah,
You
there's that
know,
too. Man.
oh, you know what? Here's just a really simple one. This is me and Stick signing out for the StarCHaser Central, where we chase the stars and we want you to go far. Something like that,
Okay,
Chase,
yeah,
chase the stars, make sure you go far. Something simple.
we gonna figure that out, and you gonna work on it because you got that on lock already. All right, peace, everybody.
Right.